There is historical evidence that the Americas were visited by such people as the Vikings, the Egyptians, and even extraterrestrials. But it wasn't until the 15th century that the old world was ready to come looking for the new world. For centuries, people had no way of preserving food other than salting it, which doesn't make it taste very good. The Middle East, on the other hand, had a variety of spices. They had cinnamon from Ceylon, pepper from India, and cloves and nutmeg from the Moluccan Islands, not to mention the gold in the Middle East. Back then, the world was so unknown, most people considered the earth to be flat. And if you sailed too far, you'd sail right off the edge. However, Europe was stepping out of the Dark Ages, wars were ending, and people began to believe more in the arts and sciences. The land routes to the east back then was through modern-day Turkey, but when the Turkish Empire conquered Constantinople in 1453, the overland supply routes were closed. By 1488, they discovered a sea route. They would first set sail from Europe, around the tip of Africa, and on to the east. And then go ahead and turn around and sail all the way back. The big problem there was that it took a very long time. Meanwhile, other explorers who knew the Earth was a sphere were thinking about reaching the east by sailing all the way west, across the Atlantic. One of them was named Christopher Columbus. In addition to being a map maker, Columbus was a first-class sailor. Columbus went seeking ships and money for his mission to the west from England, France, and Portugal. They all rejected his idea. Then finally in 1492, Queen Isabella of Spain approved the mission and Columbus was on his way. The voyage was a grueling 5 weeks longer than expected, and some of Columbus's crew had lost hope of finding land and were talking of mutiny. But then on October 12th, 1492, they found land. It was an island in the Bahamas he called San Salvador. In the coming months, Columbus sailed next to Cuba and on to present-day Dominican Republic and Haiti. Columbus went on back to Spain, but left some of his men behind to hold down the fort in the New World. Eventually, there were more ships and more men who became too grabby with the local gold and the local women.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Fighting ensued. Columbus then divided up the land and enslaved the natives, thousands of whom had died. The next 2 visits also failed to produce the riches he had hoped for, and by the time he died, he was largely considered a failure. A failure who got his very own day in history. Never did have my own day in history.